All right, guys, we're looking at document C here. It's a lot to take in, but let's dive in. So the chart is having us look at the most deadly battles and conflicts in World War II. The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki are two of the deadliest conflicts in the entire war and happened during a 3-day span. So remember August 6th and August 9th, 1945. So those are highlighted here. The bombing of Hiroshima, August 6th, it killed 140,000 people. The bombing of Nagasaki killed 70,000 people. And then some of these other battles and uprisings that happened during that time period. The siege of Leningrad, which you can see here, it's a time period over 3 years. Just over 1 million people were killed during that time, but again, that happened in 3 years. The Battle of Nanking, so the taking back of the city of Nanjing from the Japanese by the Chinese. Again, like just over a year. Nope, just kidding. Just over a month and a half. Killed 300,000 people. The Warsaw Uprising, so that was in Warsaw, Poland. Over 3 months, killed 200,000. You can take a look at the rest of this chart, but know that like more than 200,000 people were killed in 2 Japanese cities in 2 days. And that was just the immediate effect, not taking into consideration the hundreds of thousands that died as a result of radiation poisoning, other injuries sustained during the bombing. Those were just like in that day. This comes from Jason Brzezinski. He's a soldier. This is Soldiers and Civilian Deaths, World War II. OmniAtlas.com, created on January 2nd, 2012. So looking at this document, you have to decide if it is primary or secondary, and then you're justifying your answer below. So again, this was like created for a website in January of 2012. I don't think they were making silly little skull pictures in 1945 to represent the number of people that were killed during that time. So just looking at that evidence, I know that this is going to be a, back and forth, secondary source. So I'm going to highlight secondary. And I'm going to justify it. So this is a secondary source because it was created in 2012 for a website that collected statistics about the number of deaths in World War II. Great. Now you have to decide, would the creator of this chart have thought the dropping of the atomic bomb was justified or was the right thing to do? So you're going to consider that. And again, I'm looking for your opinion on this, your answer. So I'm not going to provide any support there. All right, so moving on to document D. Document D comes to us from various authors. It can be found, or the title of it is, The Legacy of Pearl Harbor. It was published by the Harvard Encyclopedia Online, May 7th, 2008. It says, Pearl Harbor is a U.S. naval base near Honolulu, Hawaii, and was the scene of a devastating surprise attack by Japanese forces on December 7th, 1941. Just before 8 a.m. on that Sunday morning, hundreds of Japanese fighter planes descended on the base, where they managed to destroy or damage nearly 20 American naval vessels, including 8 enormous battleships, and over 300 airplanes. More than 2,400 Americans died in the attack, including civilians, and another 1,000 people were wounded. The day after the assault, President FDR asked Congress to declare war on Japan. So again, we're deciding, is this a primary, secondary source, and then we're justifying our answer. This has become pretty obvious to us. We see that it was published by Harvard Encyclopedia Online in 2008, so that's well after the fact. There wasn't one single person that was at the event who saw it happen. It's created by several people afterwards, so I know that that is a primary source. Sorry, a secondary source, not a primary source. because it was created for a website in 2008 and had a number of authors/editors. All right, once you've done that, again, you are deciding if you think the authors of this document would have thought the dropping of the atomic bombs were justified. And I want you to think about when you're answering this question, the fact that document D discusses Pearl Harbor, a Japanese attack that killed Americans, and would these authors have supported a U.S. attack back? Harvard is here in the United States. I think this has a pretty pro-American leaning, but I will leave that to you to decide. So most likely the authors would have considered dropping the bomb to be justified or unjustified, because you can't just put justified or unjustified. And the authors who wrote the History.com article would most likely have thought this because. All right, once you've done that, you're moving on to this last section. This is where your independent practice or essential question, you're answering it. We are going to just do it on a Google discussion board. So you are responsible for putting your answer here and then copying and pasting it over to the Google discussion board. The question is asking you, was the dropping of the atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki justified? So remember, this is your opinion, but it does need to be based in fact, and I am not expecting to see any, I believe that the dropping of the bomb, blah, blah, blah. Just because it's your opinion, I don't need that mess. You also need to cite 2 events from this box right here. So I need to see at least 2 of these represented in your claim or counterclaim. So you're looking to include the Battle of Iwo Jima. If you need information on this, you can go back to Module 2. The Nanking Massacre is from Module 1. Japanese expansion, similarly, is in Module 1. The D-Day invasion at Normandy by the Allied forces comes from Module 2. And Pearl Harbor, we just talked about in the above document D. So again, was the dropping of the atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki justified? I've given you the claim sentence stem to begin. The dropping of the atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki was or wasn't justified. You could use justified or unjustified because this is your first opinion. Then you're going to fill out your counterclaim. A common argument against this position, that's your position, is the dropping of the atomic bomb was or was not, again, you're just choosing the opposite, because. You have to give me a reason, because. However, when you look at the evidence here's a great place to plug in evidence from the Battle of Iwo Jima, Nanking, Japanese expansion, D-Day, Pearl Harbor, blah, blah, blah. It becomes clear that you're sort of circling back to your own claim to justify why you think it was or wasn't justified. Remember the details: who dropped the bomb, what nation was it dropped upon, who did it impact, and once you've done that, you've put it together in this, you can just copy, paste it over into the Google question that says, was the dropping of the atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki justified? I am not going to have you respond to classmates. I just want to see, can you put it in there? It's going to be a quick check for completion on this module. There is a quick mastery check in Edulastic, week 4, module 3. It is mostly a skill check and vocabulary, so pop over there and finish that up. Otherwise, you guys are done for the week. Thanks, and see you later.